points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
So the parade is going to go north on Memorial. Then it's going to hang a sharp right. So that would be east. It's going to go east down Portage, loop down Main Street, and stop at the Forks where the gathering will be. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. And for all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show brought to you by our friends at Betway. With Dave Minuk, with Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel, here to discuss the Winnipeg Jets season opening 4-1 victory over the Rangers of New York City. The Jets starting the Scott Arniel era. We'll talk about that in the course of the game, of course of the broadcast. The Jets getting the 2022-2023 season off on a good foot with a flurry of goals in the last 5 minutes of the third period and taking home a 4-1 victory. Dave M., nice to see you. I'm not sure who the guy is in the bottom middle, but he's clean shaven. He's wearing a suit.
It's Illegal Curves accountant, boys. I have your taxes all ready to go.
Well, in that case, I think we're going to owe some money. Nice to see you too there, Mr. Ginsburg. Nice to see both of you gentlemen on this Friday night. The season's underway. Training camp officially beyond us. The season underway. Jets get it off on a good foot with a solid home ice victory.
Yeah, it was it wasn't beautiful. It wasn't a Picasso, as the Jets' first head coach, Jets 2.0 first head coach Claude Noel used to say. But you like how the Jets finished there, and I think after Scheifele scored on the power play, everybody knew that it was kind of eventual, that it was going to be a 4-1 victory with the empty netter from Mr. Empty Net himself, Kyle Connor. But yeah, first off, just great to get the season going, great to be in the building. We caught the first couple periods at Canada Life Center, and then made our way from downtown back to River Heights here. And obviously, the parade is going to take place shortly, I believe in about 15 or 20 minutes, as you mentioned right off the top of the show, Drew. But yeah, I mean, a few things stood out to me, and I'm sure we're going to get into a lot of things here, but love the fact that fourth line was getting some minutes in the third period, and we'll get into the game-winning goal there. But I mean, the Gus Bus, boys, is fueled and ready to go this year. And I mean, if you're not going to be jumping on that Gus Bus, then you're going to be left behind. But I mean, what work by Gustafsson behind the net? Again, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but that stood out to me from the Jets' perspective. And Scheifele, Connor, Ehlers, even though they fell asleep a little bit in the second period, like the rest of the Jets did when the Rangers were peppering Connor Hellebuyck with shots. I forget how many there were in the second period, 16, 17, something like that. But Scheifele, Connor, Ehlers, and I liked a lot of what we saw from the second line, with Dubois, Wheeler, and Perfetti, even though they kind of, had a little bit of a lull there in the middle frame. So overall, I mean, you're happy with that victory, and, good on the Rangers. Second game of a back-to-back, third game in 4 nights. We're going to get into, the Rangers, but they looked pretty good in the losing effort. They almost went ahead there in the third period, obviously tying it up on the Dryden Hunt goal. So good for the Jets for kind of persevering through that very sloppy second period and getting the job done in the third.
Yeah, take a breath there, Mr. Ginsburg. Dave M., your sort of high-level thoughts before we get into the nitty-gritty of tonight's game and just the idea of being back, in the rink, meaningful hockey games. That's always the preseason tends to drag on, and this Winnipeg Jets team, turning the page, turning into a new chapter of Jets 2.0 with. Typically, or should be normally, Rick Bowness behind the bench. And of course, we wish him nothing but a speedy return to health, and hopefully only a very minor case of COVID. That news came out of absolutely nowhere, middle of this afternoon, because he did the pregame and everything seemed perfectly normal. But Scott Arniel behind the bench. So nice to, have that safety net in having a veteran guy who had a stint as a head coach. Of course, with Columbus a number of years ago, didn't work out well, but you do have at least a veteran coach behind the bench to fill in for Rick Bowness in this situation, Dave M.
It's true. It's his first win since April 7th, 2012, as I tweeted out to end the game. So 10 years in the making for Scott Arniel. I'm sure he felt good to get the 2 points for the Jets and to get the Jets off to a good start this season. You know, and I want to speak to the start. I mean, it was nice. It's just nice. There's just a different feeling about the season. And I'm not talking about the on ice element of things, because obviously with the whole idea of running,
I thought you were talking about the fall, Dave, with the leaves changing colors and a little bit of snow today.
Roll into a game with Ezzy Ginsburg again. That felt good. Walking to that press box with Ez. You know, people used to sing me, but they sing Ezzy again.
It's like Puff Daddy and Mace, Dave.
Honestly, like people just were excited about it. So no, I mean, it was that to me was nice to see the people in the building. People were excited. The fans were excited. It just has a different sort of feel. And I'm not really focused on the team. I'm just saying from a perspective of, you know, from COVID in the last couple of years, the all Canadian division, and then you go to something like this, home opener. It just has a feeling of normality. And that was a nice element to see. You know, bigger crowd tonight. I think it was close to a sellout. It wasn't quite a sellout, but 14-4 or something like that. Yeah. So, I mean, it had a good, and you know, it was fun. It was a fun atmosphere to be in. And, you know, they had some new things at the, you know, in-game entertainment, but the Jets fans were in a good mood, you know, even if the game was tied at certain points, because, you know, they at one point they started booing a baby that was showed up. I don't know if they showed that during during the broadcast, but all of a sudden they showed this Rangers baby, this baby wearing a Rangers jersey, and fans just started booing. Then they showed Willard Reeves wearing a Rangers jersey. Nobody really wanted to boo him, the Bomber legend, but the atmosphere was fun. It was good. You know, wasn't crazy, but, you know, like I said, for the opening, that was really nice. And that they gave all the players. I mean, you know, there was some questions. I didn't have them really, but there were some questions as to what kind of reactions that, you know, a Blake Wheeler or Pierre-Luc Dubois would get from the home crowd, but they were cheered along with everybody else. So right now, all hope springs eternal at the beginning of a season. And I think that Jets fans seem to be embracing that right now in Winnipeg.
Absolutely. Hope springs eternal. And now that the Jets are 1-0, people can start focusing on 82-0. Before we get into the Betway game recap, where we break down the game in nitty-gritty detail, at the bottom of your screen, everybody, at the bottom in the little description there, you'll see a link. That's the link you need to click. That's the link that's going to get you some of the great Winnipeg Jets contest swag that we have available, that we're going to have available all throughout this season. So at the, you know, in the screen where it talks about the description of this broadcast, what you're seeing, what you're reading, click that link. That's the key for entering the contest to win some of that great swag. Dave M, if you haven't seen the photo of it, it's on our website, illegalcurve.com. It's all over our social media. You just have to keep, you know, interacting with us. You have to keep talking to us. You have to keep commenting on videos.
You're doing the stuff you're already doing. And basically, the point is, you're winning Heritage Classic jerseys. You're winning the home jersey, the away jersey. We got hats. We got t-shirts. I got Moose tickets still to give away. Ezzy's got a Tough Duck toque to give away. But for this, like Drew said, click on those links, that link down below. You'll go to the page. It'll tell you how to do it. It's pretty easy. We've had a really good response already, and we're excited. I'm really excited to give this stuff away to you guys. And I think, hey, we're going to have some of you guys already come here anyways. And so you're going to come here for our insight and analysis, whatever that's worth. And you now can get, Jets jerseys. So it's kind of an extra bonus.
Exactly right. And speaking of extra bonus, the bonus word for tonight, the secret word for tonight, you enter that, you get some bonus entries into the contest. The bonus / secret word is opener. OPENER, opener, as in season opener, home opener. Be sure to enter that, get extra entries to win some contests. And of course, we're still going to have our Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. We're going to give away two courtesy of our friends at Tough Duck. It's basically contest galore, analysis galore, fun galore for the next 81 plus regular season games. And here's what time will tell if it will include playoff games as well. There you go. Secret word for the Heritage Classic jersey is opener. And of course, we will be be sure to get in touch with the winner when we draw that winner. That'll be after Monday's game. So that all the contest entries accumulate. They accumulate tonight. They accumulate tomorrow morning on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, 9 a.m. And then they accumulate again after Monday night's game in Dallas against
It's going to be like Christmas every day. We're going to be giving someone, a stocking stuffer, a present under the tree, if you will, right? And I feel like Dave M has been waiting his whole life, by the way, to release that secret word. I absolutely love it.
There you go, the secret word. Let's get into the Betway game recap, brought to you by Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront with a large selection of betting options and sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. A big thank you and welcome aboard, of course, to Betway. They are now the title sponsor of this, the Illegal Curve post-game show, brought to you by, as it happens, Betway. Jets open the scoring at the 10:29 mark. It's Mark Scheifele with his first of the year. Imagine that, first goal of the season, first of the year for Scheifele. Assists to Ehlers and Josh Morrissey. Look, we knew entering this game, we knew entering this season that the Scheifele, Ehlers, Connor line is going to be dynamic. It's going to be a handful. It's going to be a line that the opposition has to game plan for night in and night out. So it's very fitting that the Jets open the scoring with Mark Scheifele getting that goal, with the assist going to Nikolai Ehlers, the primary, and the secondary assist to Josh Morrissey, Mr. Ginsburg.
Yeah, it was a nice goal. I mean, you mentioned, Ehlers does some really good work on the forecheck there. I forget the defenseman lifted the stick, and it was Kyle Connor. Actually, originally, it looked like might be the option for Ehlers. But, Scheifele, we know that, he can get open with the best of them. And, he makes no mistake about it, goes top shelf, glove side on Yaroslav Halak. Just a quick word on Yaroslav Halak, by the way. I mean, that's not the easiest to come in, second game of a back-to-back, third game in 4 days against a team that's playing their first game at home. I thought Halak was really solid. Like, he made some good saves. Hellebuck, obviously, we'll get into later, made more of the highlight reel saves, especially starting off with that Artemi Panarin backhand breakaway out of the penalty box. But just Nikolai Ehlers, like, this is all speed and also just being very smart, lifting the stick. Again, I don't know if you guys remember which defenseman it was there. Maybe somebody will bail me out in the chat, but it was all Ehlers on the forecheck, just making a really nice pass to Scheifele in the slot. And like I mentioned, just makes no mistake about it. And they were rewarded. I mean, let's be honest, it was pretty much all Jets in that first period. The Rangers came on a little bit there. We mentioned the Panarin breakaway was probably the best chance that they had. But, that was just, Scheifele, Connor, Ehlers at their best. And you're right, Drew. I mean, this is going to be the line for Rick Bowness / Scott Arniel and the coaching staff all season long, unless, of course, there's injuries or, this line slumps a little bit. But, I mean, tonight you saw it. Sometimes it looked like it was, puck on a rope, Scheifele and Ehlers, finding each other, cross ice. But, that was a beauty to open the season for the Jets.
Yeah, it was. And you talked about it, that first period, Dave. That's what you wanted to see from the Jets to start. You have a Rangers team, as he mentioned, the Rangers played great in their first two games. Absolutely looked great.
Andre Miller, I think, might have been the defenseman. A few people are in the chat, but
there you go.
Sorry, I was trying to think of the defenseman that Ehlers lifted the stick and stole the puck from. But sorry,
go
ahead.
That's okay, KZ Ginsburg. But this is what you wanted to see from the Jets to start the first game. You have the Rangers on the second half of the back-to-back, 3rd and 4 nights. Rangers have looked great, and they looked pretty damn good in this game as well. So don't get me wrong, but you wanted to see the Jets have that energy. You wanted to see them have that jump. You wanted to see them sort of have that eagerness as one of the last teams to actually get their season started. And they more or less delivered a lot of that in the first period. Certainly a better first period for the Jets than it was for the Rangers. If you look at possession-wise, the Jets had at 5-on-5, 63% of the Corsi 4 percentage in the first period, which really did speak to the control they had for a lot of that first period.
No, there's no question about it. And I think that's what Jets fans were wondering. What was this team going to look like? We've watched the preseason and like everybody else, you're not sure what you're getting. The 2 games against Calgary were very good, of course, and the Flames looked pretty good against Colorado the other night, but you're never sure. You're never certain. And you can say the Rangers are a very good hockey team. So, even though it is the second game of a back-to-back, and as he said, third game in 4 nights, you still have to be aware that they have so many weapons, right? And sometimes it's the crazy thing, you're almost a little incredulous because sometimes you don't even notice these guys, right? Like Zibanejad or Panarin, although Panarin was noticeable throughout the game. But sometimes the guy will lay low a little bit and you're kind of like, oh, and then boom, you're kind of reminded that they're there. So I just thought that I thought the Jets kind of came out the way they needed to. Like they built on the enthusiasm from the crowd. And, like I said, Drew, the one thing that it'll be interesting to see how they do this is, Rick Bowness talked about not giving up a ton of shots. And they said, we're prepared to give up a lot of shots if the shots are fairly harmless. If we're going to reduce our high danger shots, well, then we're putting ourselves into a good stead. If we're not reducing our high danger, if we're giving a lot of shot volume and we're not reducing our high danger chances, well, that's a problem. But, as he said it to me, I don't remember who took the shot, I think it was Kreider took a shot. And as he kind of leaned over to me in the press box and said, well, you're not scoring from there. If Andre Pavlik, if Connor Hellebuyck is seeing that shot, Andre Pavlik after that St. Louis Blues goal from center ice, maybe he wouldn't have stopped that one. But
that was a few years back now, David.
Yeah,
you're dating yourself.
But Connor Hellebuyck is definitely not giving up that. So he looked as dialed in as he ever has, and he looked very good. I mean, that was one of the things that you wanted to see how Connor Hellebuyck was going to respond, to the focus on this season. And I thought he was the best player on the ice for the Jets throughout the course of the game, especially obviously in that second period. But I thought he was the best player with the exception. And it's funny because I wanted to give him credit after the first period. I thought he looked good handling the puck. And that's one of the things we pay attention to with Connor Hellebuyck is how he handles that puck. Mm-hmm. And then of course he had that little doink in the second period where it went off of his foot and then right into the front of the net. And luckily for him and the Jets,
no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul. But that could have resulted. That kind of was, as I termed it on our Twitter, adventures in Hellebucking. Yeah. Regardless of that, that's not really a big element to his game. Did you used to read the Adventures in Babysitting book series? Was that something? I wouldn't suggest I read it. I'm pretty sure it was a movie. Drew.
Babysitter's Club.
Babysitter's Club. Sorry, you're right. Adventures in Babysitting was the movie. Babysitter's Club was the book.
Sorry, Drew. Books, Jerry? I don't think so.
We're going to start talking about R.L. Stein Goosebumps series here. Like,
I was a Bruno and Boots guy. I don't know if anybody else was a Bruno and Boots guy, but
I was more of a Nate the Great Hardy Boys guy.
Okay, yeah, that's how about Nancy Drew? Boys.
Nancy Drew wasn't my thing. It's too early. My sister was into Nancy Drew.
Guys, the season's like 10 minutes into the season. Let's go. Let's roll.
Hey, by the way, I just want to get this in there because it was bothering me. On the first goal, he beat Nikolai Ehlers. It was Ryan Carpenter. I thought it was a defenseman. I know that I'm pretty sure. Well, now I should know that I just watched it, but it was Ryan Carpenter, who's a forward, obviously not a defenseman. Ryan Lindgren was the other defenseman out there. So was he playing with Schneider? I think Lindgren Schneider was the pair, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, Ryan Carpenter, who left the game. I think it was on the Dylan DeMello hit, Dave. Right? We were trying to. Colby Spence, the Illegal Curve photographer, got a big picture. I think it might have been when Dylan DeMello took out Carpenter in the corner there. That's might have been when he got cut. But anyways, on the first goal, Ehlers lifted the stick and took the puck from Carpenter, who's actually a really good fourth-line player. But anyways, it wasn't K-Andre Miller. Just wanted to get that in there.
Second period was all New York Rangers. Really all New York Rangers. The Jets were on their heels, and if it wasn't for the heroics and if it wasn't for Connor Hellebuyck sort of reminding everybody that, oh yeah, this team is only going to go as far as Connor Hellebuyck is going to take them to a great degree, it really would have been a New York Rangers lead after 40 minutes. Instead, it was still 1-0 for the Jets after 40, but Connor Hellebuyck was fantastic in that second period. The Jets fell into some of their old bad habits, the ones that are going to be, it's not going to happen like that where they get broken overnight.
That's saw a nice some of those bad snap, by the way, Drew.
Thank you. It's a good. I can't whistle, but I have a loud snap.
I can't do either. I've tried. Like I've taken classes. I can't do either.
Really, you can't snap?
There's like 2-year-olds that can snap. I can't snap. My hands, like I don't know what it is. If it's not, there's not enough oil or what it is.
I don't know.
It's,
Those are
it's
some pretty big
eczema
meat.
cream. I have no idea.
Those are some pretty big meat fingers you got going on over there. So
I've got some
that
sausage
might-
fingers for sure.
that might have something to do with it. And anyway, Dave, Connor Hellebuyck, and you spoke about it, but just, I mean, his brilliance and sort of him saying, "Oh, hi, remember me, everybody?" Because nobody's been talking about Connor Hellebuyck all training camp and all preseason, because we've come to expect Connor Hellebuyck at this level for the most part, and you got a glimpse of it in that second period largely.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that was the biggest. That might have been one of the biggest question marks coming into the season was, would he be able to bounce back? Again, his numbers weren't atrocious last year; they just weren't Connor Hellebuckian. And so I think that's one of those things that you were wanting to see from a Jets perspective was, would he look crispy in net, and would he have that, that confidence that you come to expect from Connor Hellebuyck? And we've heard him talk about last year as in the past. And, he is a different sort of guy. We've covered him since his AHL days. So his mannerisms changed a little bit from when he was an ice cap / moose to the Jets. But, I mean, that's part of, I think, embracing the idea that you're a number one goaltender in the NHL. It's a different mentality. There's a different focus. There's a different pressure than when you're in the AHL. There's no question about that. That's a pretty Captain Obvious statement for me. But I think one of the things that we heard from him the last few days, if you've been listening to his, the media availabilities, is, look, like last year's in the past, I've got to focus on this and I'm ready to go. And I think we saw it. Like, we saw Connor Hellebuyck that's focused. And that's a problem for a lot of teams, because he is not, especially, like I said, if the Jets can limit the high danger chances and really just allow these soft 50-foot shots, Connor Hellebuyck is making them. I mean, he's making the shots through traffic as well right now. I mean, there were a lot of shots that he was gloving with no problem through screens. Mm-hmm. So obviously those are a little tougher, but he looked good. He looked dialed in. It's one game. You're not going to, plan the parade like you did in the first part of the show, Drew. But I still think that if you have a goaltender of Connor Hellebuyck's pedigree, and he looks like the way he looks right now, it speaks well for the Winnipeg Jets organization, because he really is a difference maker, as we all know, as everybody knows who's been watching him for years.
Yeah, and give the Rangers, sorry, I was just going to say, Drew, give the Rangers credit. They had the big win over the Wild yesterday, but they came in and had put up 41 shots. And I agree with Dave. The high danger chances weren't anything that you're going to look back on and say that was ridiculous, because they were
11-10 were the high danger chance. High danger chance.
Right. And a lot of those came in the second period, but you could point to the Panarin, breakaway, or you could point to that, Chris Kreider chance. I forget if the Rangers were on the power play at that point, but it was the chance that I think Kreider had a couple whacks at it. Hellebuyck just came up huge. So, right, that's the difference. It's a 1-goal game, right? So, well, it was a tie game, but you know what I mean. Once
we haven't got to the third period out. It was a 1-goal game after 40 minutes. We'll get to.
I'm excited, Drew. It's the first game of the season. I've got my, suit on. I've got my tie on. I'm excited.
We're thrilled that you're here for the first game of the post game. We'll see if you're making it for the second of the post games, or the third, or the fourth. But time will tell on that front. That's okay.
I will be here for all 82 games. I won't miss. I'm just call me Phil Kessel.
That's another one of those Ginsburg guarantees, folks, that is not going to come true. That's exactly what I can tell you about that for sure, is that will not come true. A second period absolutely dominated by the New York Rangers. We talked about the Jets' possession, 63% in the first period. How about 69% for the New York Rangers in the second period? And it was, though, on the strength of Connor Hellebuyck, a 1-0 game after 40 minutes. The Rangers putting up 3 times the number of shots that the Jets did in that second, outshooting the Jets 21-7 in the second period. So Connor Hellebuyck certainly earned his keep after 40 minutes. Rangers did tie it up, and it came on from an unexpected source. You were rattling off the names of the superstars there before, Dave. Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider. I don't think anybody necessarily
Adam Fox.
had. What did you say?
Adam Fox, yes. You can keep going. I don't think anybody had Dryden Hunt scoring the Rangers' first goal of the game that came. Well, he was a late addition too, Drew, because Vitaly Kravtsov was supposed to originally play. I'm not sure what his injury was.
Yeah.
So Dryden Hunt was actually not originally supposed to be in the game, but you're absolutely right. I mean, fourth liner, a guy that, doesn't have a lot of goals in the NHL, but he's one of those guys that he was drafted by Florida, but obviously, he got the Rangers tied the game up, but definitely not a guy that I think everybody thought Panarin was going to be the one that was going to score. He was all over the ice tonight, but just wanted to get that in there, that he originally wasn't supposed to play.
There you go. It was Dryden Hunt. He does get the goal. It's his first of the year, assist to Vincent Trocheck and Artemi Panarin. Look, I don't want to pick on Logan Stanley, but when you watch the video of this goal, he looks like a bit of a fish out of water. It's a simple 2-on-2 play to start. It doesn't seem like a high danger or a high risk situation. Panarin and Hunt are coming in on Schmidt and Stanley. Schmidt does a very good job. He takes Panarin out wide, and then Logan Stanley just loses Dryden Hunt. And then as the third Ranger comes into the play, this being Trocheck in this instance, with a Jets player right on his heels, Stanley gets lost. He gets lost where his guy is. His guy is Dryden Hunt. Dryden Hunt goes to that soft spot. Logan Stanley is flailing a little bit in front of the Jets net, in front of Connor Hellebuck. The pass comes through from Trocheck to Hunt, and Hunt, look, even a fourth line guy at the NHL level still knows how to pick a corner like nobody else, and he beats Connor Hellebuck glove hand in and out so quickly that you didn't even know if it hit the mesh or if it hit post. Dave M.
Yeah, no, I mean, you kind of felt that there was a potential for some Rangers momentum there, and good on the Jets for being able to stave it off and stay in the fight, if they will. But no, it's too early to start dropping the stay in the fights. But look, I mean, you're right, Drew. The beauty of it is when people talk about fourth liners, we tend to forget that these guys are still in the top 0.000% of their craft, and any one of these guys is just what they can do is just incredible. And you tend to forget when you're removed, whether you're in the arena high above or if you're, at home watching. But when you get up close and personal and you watch what these guys can do, they can still be deadly with the puck. So, I mean, that was it was an interesting play. Ezzy and I watched the replay a couple of times just to see what happened. I mean, Logan Stanley definitely got spun around a little bit. The Jets kind of over committed on one side.
But Trocheck wasn't. Sorry, Dave. I'm just going to jump in here. Stanley was definitely a little bit out of position there, or no, not a little bit. He was out of position, but also Trocheck comes over the blue line, and Scheifele. It was Schmidt who went to Panarin, and then Scheifele goes over to Panarin as well. And then Trocheck comes in, and then it was Ehlers, I believe, who was just a little bit late, and then he goes and chases after Trocheck. And then you have that situation where, okay, now you've got Ehlers and Stanley going towards Trocheck, and that's what opened up for Dryden Hunt. And obviously, I mean, you got to be Trocheck, Panarin, they were all over, the ozone tonight. But so I agree with Drew that, Stanley, I thought he had a rough game tonight. And I think, we'll probably get into that more on the Saturday show, but I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if you see Dylan Samberg come in for Monday night against Dallas, right? So it just was poor defensive coverage. And that's the thing, right? Like, this is one of those games that, okay, you win 4-1, you can put a bow on it, everything looks good. But the second period wasn't great. And, that goal scored by Dryden Hunt to tie the game up, was poor defensive coverage. But, we're not going to be, Debbie Downer to your guys. The Jets won their home opener, and, the mistakes were, I would say, few and far between. And I think the focus should be, the Jets' new style of play, the new system that's been implemented by Rick Bowness and his coaching staff, even though Bones wasn't there. The Jets clearly looked like, a team, as Drew says, had more of an attention to detail and just looked better, looked more of a cohesive group. But certainly on that goal, it was just poor defensive coverage kind of all around, I would say.
Which I just want to quickly jump in, which started in the ozone, right? With that Ehlers, that errant Ehlers.
Yeah,
pass.
Ehlers turned the puck over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, Dave, we're obviously, Ehlers had a fantastic game. Like, he was.
Yeah.
But I mean, on that particular play, it was, obviously led to a goal coming back the other way.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that you just want to erase from your game, right? It's just, especially when, you have two forwards already deep three forwards deep, and you pass it like that at that angle, it does lead itself. If the play doesn't materialize to something like that transpiring. So, I mean, it ends up burning you and it doesn't end up costing you the game, which is ultimately what's the most important thing.
It's going to be a great teaching opportunity for Rick Bowness, for Scott Arniel, for the Jets coaching staff, but you much prefer the teaching opportunities when you win at the same time. They feel a little bit better than when they result in a loss. 1-1 at that point in time, early in the third period, and we'll get to Sam Gagner. But I mean, we have to talk about the fourth line. I mean, first of all, Sam Gagner scores at the 15:35 mark. It turns out to be the game-winning goal. His first as a member of the Winnipeg Jets, obviously his first game in a Jets uniform. Assist to Saku Maanalainen and David Gustafsson.
Don't call him Koivu, Drew.
I had to do a double take there, Ezzy. Thank you for catching me on it. But how about the fact that the fourth line is just on the ice?
Yep.
I mean, that's, this wasn't their only, third period shift. Before they scored, I tweeted with about probably 9 minutes to go in the game, so about 4 minutes or so before this game-winning goal, I tweeted that they were on the ice in the back half of a tie game in the third period and that they had an effective shift. I mean, you see that. You see the deployment. You see the change in deployment immediately just by virtue of the fact that line was on the ice, and then they get rewarded on top of that. So the coaching staff, trust them, and then they get rewarded for having, for believing in those three players. A very effective fourth line game from that shift, from that line, obviously culminating in the game-winning goal.
Yeah, I mean, Gus Bus deserves a ton of credit on that goal. That's one of those goals where, put an exclamation mark beside, the primary assist, because he just does all the dirty work, goes behind the net, and then, gets it over to Maanalainen, who gets it over to Gagner, who has a few whacks at it. And, speaking of poor defensive coverage, the Rangers were all over the place and just, not doing a good job of clearing in front of the net for Yaroslav Halak. But, that fourth line, Drew, is really intriguing, right? And, up until a few days ago, we weren't really sure, who was going to be on that line. We thought Axel Jonsson-Fjällby might get a crack on the fourth line. He obviously was the 13th forward tonight, but, I mean, there's a lot to like. I think it's intriguing, and it's only game one, and we'll see how long this fourth line stays together. But I think we all agree that Gustafsson and Gagner are going to be staples of that fourth line. But why can't Saku Maanalainen be a staple as well? Like, this is a guy who's not only big, but he can skate, and we saw him out on the PK. Like, he's a smart hockey player, and I got to give Drew credit, because when the Jets brought him over here, a lot of people just kind of thought, okay, well, he's going to play for the Moose. Same thing for Kevin Stenlund, and we'll see if Kevin Stenlund gets into a little bit of action. But obviously, Saku Maanalainen had a better training camp. So Maanalainen is a guy that, he's not, a rookie. He's not a second-year player. This is a veteran guy who obviously didn't play a ton in the NHL, but tons of experience in the Finnish Pro League. And, they look solid all night long. And these are guys that, can contribute on the penalty kill. I mean, aside from Sam Gagner, you're not going to see, I think, David Gustafsson and Saku Maanalainen play a lot in the power play. But not only did they come together, for the game-winning goal, but, they were impactful. Like Gustafsson, there's a lot of things to his game that don't necessarily, stand out to you when you look at the score sheet. But this is a guy that's just a well-rounded player. Dave M can speak to that more, because I feel like Dave M, is Gustafsson's dad, and he was a proud dad when, Gustafsson got an assist on the game-winning goal. But yeah, there's, I think, a lot to like about that fourth line, and you'd love to see Scotty Arniel, using that fourth line, more than Paul Maurice did last year and in previous years.
No question.
I just want to jump in quick and say the thing about Gustafsson that I liked, especially from Scott Arniel, was the fact that they used him on the PK, because I think it was in the third period too. I mean, that to me is a sign of a team using their development league in a proper way. Because David Gustafsson, sure, he's a first-line center with the Manitoba Moose, but he was a first-line center who played all minutes. He played the power play, he played the penalty kill. Now, I'm not expecting David Gustafsson to be on the power play for the Winnipeg Jets, but you do want to see David Gustafsson on the penalty kill, because, again, if you feel that you have the confidence to play him, then maybe you don't need a Mark Scheifele. Maybe you don't need a Kyle Conrad. You don't need a Nikolai Ehlers to. Maybe it's not a bad thing you throw them in there occasionally, but if you have guys like Lowry, Appleton, Gagner, Gustafsson, you could have your pairs to have an effective PK. And to me, that's one of the biggest flaws I've seen from the Jets throughout the course of the last few years, is almost that disconnect from what a guy did in the AHL and then not using that effectively in the NHL. And I understand it's a different league, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Like, Jack Roslovic comes to mind, right? Jack Roslovic played center his entire time in the AHL, with the exception of all of a sudden, mysteriously in November, they switch him to the wing. And then, of course, he gets called up and he becomes a winger in the NHL, which is fine, but that's not what his kind of trajectory was in the American Hockey League. And with David Gustafsson, you want to see him play penalty kill because that's a strength of his. He's extraordinarily, I mean, again, what have I been saying about him? He's Andrew Copp light. He's an extraordinarily defensively responsible young player. And I think that you want to see that he can be used in more, in an effective manner, in a different sort of circumstance, because again, it's that idea. And Rick Bowness has been talking about it the last few days. You're reducing the minutes, right? You're trying to take the minutes down from the Mark Scheifele. So do you really want to add, a minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes a game of PK time for Mark Scheifele? Doesn't make a lot of sense because that's not really his. Sure, the shorthanded goal is great, but how many of those are you getting? So leave the Adam Lowrys, leave the David Gustafsons, the Sacramento Lions, the Sam Gagnes, or the Mason Appletons. That can be their bag. That's how they'll get their minutes up. And you don't have to worry about, I mean, you don't want to be taking penalties. I just think you're effectively using guys in the manner in which you brought them up to the NHL. So continue to do that, and you're going to have some success.
Gustafsson had the lowest time on ice for the Jets in the game at 8 minutes and 16 seconds. 8 minutes and 16 seconds, for a fourth line is perfectly reasonable. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when those minutes are have been doled out in really key circumstances. You don't think that's such a huge, psychological boost for that fourth line to be out there in that time and in that role and get that goal? You don't think that they're going to build on that?
There's a big difference between 8 or 9 minutes, Drew, and you think, okay, what's the big difference between 8 or 9 minutes and 4 or 5 minutes, which we saw sometimes last year, right?
Right.
Well, you're talking 6 shifts. That's let's say it's an average shift of 30 seconds. Obviously, I'm just kind of throwing out general numbers here, but this is significant. And again, also, game one, so you want to pump the brakes. But, I mean, it looks like the Jets
those 5 minutes would only be within the first 30 minutes of the game. Sure. They'd be stapled to the bench after that. So the fact that you're getting more ice time for that fourth line, and you're getting that, and you're deploying them in all situations at all times during the game. Now, if the Jets were down by a goal or two, they probably aren't necessarily running the fourth line, but in a tie game to be able to use them speaks volumes about the trust and I guess how they plan to deploy the entirety of the forward group, at least to start the year.
Absolutely. And that line does have shutdown potential, right? Like, Dave, mentioned, Gustafsson's Andrew Copp light. Like, he is a shutdown center. He's a guy that, it was on display tonight that he's a guy that can set up plays and make plays. But I mean, this is going to make them a more dangerous team. Like, we know that the Jets' top six is really solid, right? Like, you've got, Cole Perfetti, who, we'll get into him maybe a little bit later, or on tomorrow's show. But, Perfetti, there's a pass that he made to Wheeler, and it's just like, there aren't that many guys, especially 20-year-olds, that can make that play. It didn't even result, I think, in a good scoring chance, but he's just a guy that knows where to put the puck. He knows where he is at all times, doesn't give away the puck a lot. And he didn't have a particularly, noticeable game offensively. But I think, if you have a solid fourth line and a solid third line, I thought Morgan Barron looked pretty good on that third line, and Lowry and Appleton as well. I mean, I don't think they had an A+ game or anything like that, but you can roll 4 lines. That's not something that we've seen in Winnipeg for 3 or 4 years.
You're absolutely right. The insurance marker for the Winnipeg Jets came at the 18:23 mark of the third period, with Jacob Trouba in the box for a delay of game puck over glass penalty. The Jets take advantage of that. Mark Scheifele, his second of the game, his second of the season. But the pass from Pierre-Luc Dubois to set up Scheifele is a world-class pass. I mean, Scheifele, in that position makes no mistake, but you just can't say enough about the pass from Pierre-Luc Dubois there, and the effort from Nikolai Ehlers to get the puck over to Dubois that ends up setting up the goal. Just a wonderful sequence of events for the Jets and that first power play unit, which everyone expects to be very dangerous, along with that first forward line and the icing on the cake of tonight's victory with that Scheifele power play goal, his second of the year, second of the game, Dave.
Yeah, and there's an interesting quote I'm just reading. Murat wrote on Twitter. It said Mark Scheifele checked in with the Howard statue on his way to the rink. This is the quote: "I definitely got the chills when I drove by this morning. Luckily, the Hargrave light was red, so I was able to look at it even more. I know Dale's watching over me, and hopefully he's proud over that one."
Yeah, he put that up on his not Murat, but Mark Scheifele put that up on his Instagram as well. put a little tribute to Dale Howard
Oh,
prior to
okay.
the game on his Instagram. So that was very apropos, and obviously apropos that he gets the 2 goals then.
For sure. And I think that's one of the other things we were watching for, right? You wanted to watch to see Connor Hellebuck, but you also want to see how Mark Scheifele was going to be. And I thought that Mark Scheifele looked, there were a lot of someone made an interesting point on Twitter. They said, back checking just for the sake of back checking isn't necessarily all that's important, because Rick Bowness was asked about how would he, I think actually it was by Murat, in his availability today, said, how are you going to ensure that guys are not at 75%? They're going to be at 100%. And Rick Bowness said, my voice, ice time, that how much time these guys are on the ice will be based on, he said, there won't be a double standard. It won't be one way for the first line and another way for the fourth line. We're going to, of course, have to judge that based on how the season goes. But I thought that Mark Scheifele was really effective tonight and in what he was able to do. So, of course, scoring those goals, Mark Scheifele's a sniper. I mean, Mark Scheifele getting those kind of opportunities, he is not making a mistake. That is like his eyes must have been like saucers when he saw those passes coming his way, because he knew that he was scoring those goals. But I like I said, that it just seems like a breath of fresh air. Sorry, I think I reversed
fresh
that.
of breath air.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell that means.
I might not be on. Mark Scheifele's on. I'm not on right now. So
it's game 1 of 82, Dave M. Like, we're working out a few kinks. Everybody's making a few Freudian slips, right? It's all
exactly. But I think that, it really does. And again, I'm going to pump my own brakes here because I'm going a little hot on game 1 of the season, but I'm not suggesting that you can take and extrapolate it, but I just think that there's look, the key for the Jets, and we talked about it on last Saturday show, and Ezzy said this, it's about how, because you have a tough schedule in October. So if you can get a good feeling going early, and then you can go into Dallas.
You ride it.
I said it.
Same way, whatever. You guys are the same.
I'm usually looking down. I'd like to take credit for it.
I was going to say, I'm usually looking down on Twitter or on whatever, but the point is that, fine, Drew said it. But if you can get a good feeling, if you can, well, actually, Drew, to be honest, you just kind of took a negative bend and said the Jets have a tough schedule, so they could be screwed if they don't do well. You didn't really say that. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is that if you can build on this and you can get that good feeling in the room, I think, again, it's easy to have that feeling now when there's nothing, when you're at 0, but now you've got 2 points in the bank, you're feeling good about it, and you'll try and build on it. Because again, there's obviously, like as he said, there's going to be teachable moments from this game, but you're happy that it's in a win and not in a loss.
Absolutely. The Jets rounded up the goal scoring with an empty netter. Kyle Connor gets his first of the year, 20 seconds to go in the game at the 1940 mark of the third period. Blake Wheeler gets his first assist, and those two guys know how to put the puck into a net that's got a goalie in front of it and into an empty net as well. But real good effort from Wheeler at the defensive blue line to clear the puck and then chip it up to Connor. So, there was some skill involved in the play that led to the empty net goal. So full credit to the former Winnipeg Jets captain, who did get a nice ovation from the crowd today, and I think he appreciated that. You could sort of see that on the TV broadcast, that he appreciated hearing those cheers. And obviously Kyle Connor and the Jets wrap up the goal scoring. 4-1 is the final in tonight's game. The Jets proving to 1-0-0 on the season, given that they've only played one game so far. Don't go anywhere, anybody. We have much more to talk about in tonight's game. We have the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. We're going to be awarding a toque. If you haven't already done so, again, the link is at the bottom. Scroll down. You'll see the description of the show. Click that link. That's how you have to enter all the contests. That's what you do to gain these ballots and to get these entries to win a Heritage Classic Jets jersey. We're going to be awarding that next week. So do all these things now. Do all these things tomorrow morning. Do all these things on Monday's post-game show, and you get more and more entries to win that jersey. And again, the bonus word, the secret word for winning the jersey, put that in. You get some extra entries. The bonus word is opener. There it is. It's on the screen. Opener. is the secret word, the bonus word for tonight's show, for extra entries to win.
Drew, it's only going to last so long, and then we're going to switch the secret word for the next one. So you got to make sure, throw that opener in there.
Have we picked out all 82 secret words? Or
no, we haven't done that yet.
No,
we're just gonna,
I would like to pick a word one night if I can.
You have to put forth your suggestions, and then we'll get the evaluation committee to consider them and everything else. But as important as this victory was for the Winnipeg Jets, I would say the most important thing is upcoming. A brand new Grid Park commercial. And let me tell you, Dave M and I are heading to Hollywood to for Emmy award-winning nominations for the quality of commercial
Gemini.
You're about to see.
You're going to win a Gemini.
Or a Gemini, sure. We are here in Canada. We can win Geminis, we can win Emmys, we can win daytime Emmys, we can win whatever other kind of Emmys there are. What were you saying, Dave?
I was going to say, don't forget, I also have 4 Moose tickets for tomorrow's home opener starting at 2:00. So I want some people to message me. I see Dave. Send me a DM.
Are we giving those away tonight, or are we giving them away tomorrow on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show?
We can do 2 tonight. We can do 2 tomorrow. Let's
message Dave M.
Let's just get start rolling here. Get some people excited about the Moose. They've got their home opener tomorrow. 2 Moose games this weekend. It is going to be busy. Saturday show, Moose Saturday. Moose Sunday. Lots to do.
Going on. Don't go anywhere. The Illegal Curve post-game show brought to you by Betway. Powers on this Friday night.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
There's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com. For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com.
We are back. I hope everybody enjoyed it. I know that
I think
Dave
people
and
liked it. I think people liked it.
I think people liked it. I know you and I enjoyed putting it together. Ezzy, I
Tur-
thought
Actually, Turd says it's it's like The Godfather 2, better than the original.
you know, Ezzy, I thought your role in that was fantastic. I haven't seen acting
Yeah.
at that level, you know, in a long, long time.
I was like Chaplin-esque there, silent.
Yeah. Silent and invisible. Exactly. That was excellent on your part, Dave M. I'm just humbled to be on the same screen as you, of course.
Sure.
Filming those quality commercials. Big thank you to our friends at Grid Park. Big thank you to all of our sponsors. Betway, of course, they're the title sponsor here of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. A reminder, we'll be back at it. We're not done yet for tonight, but just a reminder right now, 9 a.m. tomorrow, the weekly Illegal Curve Hockey Show right back here. We'll talk about what happened in tonight's game. We'll talk about the upcoming game on Monday in Dallas, Central Division matchup as the Jets and maybe Rick Bowness. I guess time will tell if he's going to be on the road trip or not, heading back to Dallas to face his old team. We're going to be doing our Jets over-unders in tomorrow's show. Always a fun segment. We've been doing that one for nigh on forever, but looking forward to doing that with you guys.
The best part of the over-under, aside from giving our answers and our takes, is that I get to actually mock the questions like they do on TSN with the Quizmaster. So, all seriousness, it's one of our favorite segments. I mean, we were doing it for years, as you mentioned, Drew, on TSN 1290. So it's going to be a fun show. Not sure if you mentioned earlier, we're going to have the new Jets voice, Dan Robertson, on, and Mike Heika. Very, very excited to have Mike Heika on. He used to cover the Stars for the Dallas Morning News. Now he works for the Stars. He's the beat writer for their website. He's just a fantastic guy. We had him on, dozens of times back in the day on TSN 1290. Nobody knows the Dallas Stars like him, so it's really going to be fun to talk to him about the Jets, one of the Jets' biggest rivals.
You're absolutely right. Mike Heika joining us at 10:30 a.m. Central Time tomorrow, and at 9:30, as you mentioned. We've seen him on the broadcast. We've seen him now call a few games for the Jets, but really going to get an opportunity to hear from Dan Robertson, the Winnipeg Jets' new play-by-play broadcaster, for the first time in a non-game setting. So Dan is going to join us, scheduled to join us tomorrow at 9:30. So be sure to be back here at 9 a.m. for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. It's going to be a jam-packed couple of hours as per usual. Gentlemen, a good night for the Winnipeg Jets. Everything.
Hold on, Drew. I didn't get a chance to drop it in. This is what everybody's playing for right here.
There's the jersey itself on display. It was not a game-worn jersey by Dave M. That's authentic.
Nope,
that is
authentic, though.
Fresh. That's clean. That is a beautiful Jets heritage jersey. You can win that. Follow the link. It's at the bottom in the description there. You got to do all those tasks. You're already doing them. You're already watching us. So do those tasks.
You go to illegalcurve.com. You go to our Instagram. You go to our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Just do it anyways. It's not hard.
I can't tell if this is a commercial or not right now, or we're live,
guys.
It's
not a commercial. Hard. Okay. You get more ballot. The more you interact with us, the more ballots you get, and more opportunities to win. And we're going to be giving away so much swag over the course of the next 82 games worth that it's going to be tremendous fun. Speaking of giveaways, we have, of course, one courtesy of our friends at Tough Duck, back again as a sponsor here on the post-game show. The Tough Duck hardest hitting comment. Ezra Ginsburg, do you have it handy, my good friend?
I absolutely do. And I have to say, I have been dreaming of the return of the Tough Duck hardest hitting comment to give away tubes, because, last year, boys, was the first full year we obviously did the post-game show, right? And it was one of the most fun, parts of doing the post-game show, in addition to interacting with all the fans and having a good kibitz with you boys. We're going to give it was back at 10:26. We were getting some good. I think you've got it there in the private chat, Drew. Bart Oman, pardon me. Putting the fourth line out with 5 minutes in the third is a reward for playing the right way. And then they justified the decision with the game winner. I agree with Bart 100%. We were talking about that fourth line 10, 15 minutes ago. Bart also had some other good comments in there as well. So we're going to give him the toque. And as we know, there was snow in the Peg and snow across our beautiful Prairie province. So you're going to need that toque. So Bart, send me an email, Ezra@illegalcurve.com, or you can slide into my DMs and, just send me your mailing address, and Tough Duck will ship out a toque to you directly.
There you go. Congratulations to Bart, the winner of the first Tough Duck hardest hitting comment for the 2022-23 season. Yes, Dave M, you got the fingers going.
Well, I mean, as he mentioned, it's getting cooler out here. We're getting into winter. I mean, thankfully we're going to have a nice little hot streak coming up next week, but we got to also give a shout out to our friends at the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show, which is coming up in November. And you want to gear up for hard water season at the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show, November 5th and 6th at Red River X Place. Dozens of retailers will be on site with all of your favorite lures, electronics, ice shelters, augers, winter apparel, and more. Expert speakers, kids scavenger hunt, and prize draws. Just $10 admission at the door. Kids 12 and under is free. Now, I love fishing. I'm not really a big ice fishing guy, but I'm kind of getting into it. I'm more excited about it. So we're going to potentially be doing a show on location on that November 5th, our Saturday show. So come out and you can meet Illegal Curve. Maybe we'll have some swag to give away. Well, actually, no, we have swag. We have courtesy of our friends from Seagram's. It's all coming together. It's all intertwined.
So are we going to be doing the show like around like a hole in the ice? Is that kind of the plan?
Yeah, I'm hoping we'll
be
actually,
in one of those shacks doing.
Yeah, we'll be in an ice fishing shack.
Yeah, and I think actually one of the contests that they're running at the ice fishing show, if I'm not mistaken, is using an auger. You get to drill a hole in Ginsburg, and then you get to fish out of Ginsburg and see what you can pull out, like full slices of pizza, just undigested, chickens, all sorts of great things like that. So yes, as Dave mentioned, there, a big thank you to our friends at the Winnipeg Ice Fishing Show. They're on board, and we're hopefully going to be able to be down there coming up in a few weeks' time, and encourage everybody to check that out with ice fishing season right around the corner. No word if Dustin Byfuglien is going to be there or not.
I did think he'd be a great guest. I'm not going to lie to you. I was actually thinking to myself, what could Illegal Curve do? Could you imagine the chat if all of a sudden it's the three of us bozos and Dustin Byfuglien? I mean, he'd be like, how'd you guys get me to rope me into this? But I mean, he would just, so we'll see. We'll see what we can do.
Yes,
maybe make some magic happen.
See, there was like some controversy with a bunch of guys that were stuffing fish or something like that. Like a bunch of guys in I think it was the U.S.
It was the U.S.
Yeah.
I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Tennessee. And if you ask anybody from Kentucky, they would tell you that you can't trust anybody at all from Tennessee. So I believe that was what was happening there. But yes, they were cheating in a fishing derby.
Yeah, I mean, that happens all the time. Guys will catch fish. They'll put them in a little cage. Then they'll go to this spot and they'll catch the fish again to enter it. I mean, it happens all the time.
Okay, sorry, Dave. I didn't realize that you were.
Well, Dave M is the fisherman. I mean, Drew, we don't really know what we're doing, but Dave M is a master angler, so he knows what he's talking about.
I look. Apparently, it was in Ohio. I apologize to the good people of Tennessee. No, I don't. I never feel the need to apologize.
Yeah, Robert Palmer just called you out.
Ohio and Tennessee. That's not. Those aren't even border states.
Well, no, it's Ohio above Kentucky, then Tennessee. That's how it works. But
all right, let's forget about the geography. Let's go.
Okay. Well, in any way, let's go. Like we're done because
no,
we got the IC.
Not.
Yeah, we're absolutely not. Okay,
no, we don't need to wrap up the show. What are you talking about? We just got started.
Dave M's ready to go.
You haven't even done a Manuk Moose Minute yet, for God's sakes.
That's because you can save it for tomorrow, where you're going to talk about the Moose home opener, which is coming up this weekend. So you can keep your powder dry. Or whatever the ice fishing equivalent analogy would be on that one there, Dave M. But don't worry, there will definitely be time tomorrow for a Manuk Moose Minute as we talk about the Moose, of course, ahead of their home opener. They look like a stacked team with all the guys coming down from the Jets, who are now going to be down with the Moose for this upcoming season.
Already stacked, and then you throw in Harkins and Tony Nato. It's unbelievable. Like they have to have one of the deepest forward groups in the entire league.
Yeah. No, there's no question. This Moose team is. I was talking to some of the Moose people today in the press box. They're gonna have I said, I don't know. I actually said to one of the guys, I said, I'm glad I'm not the coach because I don't know how you make the decisions on that roster. It is incredibly deep. And
Brad Lambert, as you mentioned, Dave, we were talking about this. Lambert, Chaz Lucius, Daniel Torgerson. I mean,
Henry Nikkanen.
Obviously got a new goaltender to follow with Selman, and it's going to be an exciting year. And you know that this Moose team, wants to go further than the first round. They weren't happy with just getting into the playoffs, right? So this year, there's every reason to believe that this team can go on a nice Calder Cup run.
You're absolutely right. We'll talk more about the Moose tomorrow. We'll talk about the Jets. We'll recap tonight's game. Look ahead to Monday. As I mentioned, Dan Robertson, Jets broadcaster, going to join us. First time we'll have him on since he's moved here to Winnipeg. We had him on previously when he was still with the Habs a number of years ago, but now it'll be great.
A few years back, I actually sent him audio. I told you, Drew, I was looking for his phone number, and then I saw that I'd sent him audio of Carey Price, actually. I guess he didn't get it, and I had sent it to him. So, I mean, being the good guy that I am, I hooked Dan Robertson up with my little Carey Price audio. And
you are a mensch.
Come full circle now. Now he's back in Winnipeg, and he's going to be joining us on the show tomorrow. Awesome.
There you go. We're looking forward to having him. Looking forward to having Mike Heika. Looking forward to having all of you join us tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., the Illegal Curve Hockey Show, back here on this fine YouTube channel. If you haven't already done so, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't already done so, be sure to smash the like button. Be sure to be following us all over our social media platforms. Retweet us, like us. All it's going to do is give you more entries into winning that beautiful Jets Heritage Classic jersey that Dave M was modeling for you a couple minutes ago. Tell your friends, tell your family, the best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game and every Saturday morning is back here on the Illegal Curve YouTube channel.
It really
Dave
is the perfect jersey. Like, I don't think
look at that.
Like, it should be the permanent jersey. Should it not?
Sharp. It's sharp. Big thank you to all the sponsors of the post-game show, of the Saturday show, of the website. They make this a possibility. Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Linden Market Dental Center, Zappia Group Realty, Betway. They're the official sponsor of the post-game show. Tough Duck, congratulations to Bart. He's got a toque coming from Tough Duck. Be sure to message Ezzy, send him an email.
We're out of board license plates.
We're out of board license plates. But that's clever there, Mr. Ginsburg. Boston Pizza, Seagram's, Rolly's Transfer, Grid Park, and The Keg support these fine businesses because they support and their continued support of Illegal Curve Hockey. The Jets victorious tonight 4-1 over the New York Rangers. For Dave Manouk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mindell. Until tomorrow at 9 a.m., we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.